give it over to Hubert. Hubert, are you there?
I'm here. All right, so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a little story, and I'm here for my own self-interest because I want Brian to answer a question that sometimes I have a problem with, and it's not me personally with consistency. I'm pretty consistent in what I do. Sometimes to a detriment, like I'll take a trade setup that I know to be true, to be profitable. And like, let's take bonds, for instance. Well, first, let me do an audio check. Can you guys hear me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So there's this trade that I teach people how to do where it's, I risk $156.25 to potentially make $1,000 or more. I consistently do that trade day in, day out. Now, do I do it every day? No, because there's some days I'm not in front of the machine, or there's some days I've got life just like you guys, and something happens. So I have to take Mason to jiu-jitsu, or I'm dealing with McKinsey in accounting class or something like that. That's pretty funny, me helping somebody do accounting since I'm dyslexic and got D's in maths. But what I'm going for here is, when I teach people this trade setup, it only works 3 or 4 times out of 10. Now, it can increase, but the average is only about 3 or 4 times out of 10, which sounds like it sucks, but it's not, because I'm always risking 156 to make $1,000 or more. So I only really need that thing to work 2 times out of 10 and I make money. Anything over 3 times out of 10, I'm pretty profitable. And 4 times out of 10 is great. 5, I'm killing it, right? So when I teach people how to do this, I first walk them through, and this is directly related to you, Brian. So I'm going to ask you a question here, and I want your feedback. For me, I can consistently do it because I've had years of experience. Like I call it like deposit. Like I'm losing that 156. I'm losing that 156. I'm losing that 156. Anywhere from 6 to 7 times, and then I hit a pretty good runner that will run for, $500, $700, $1,000. $3,000, $8,000. How do I consistently, because I know your presentation, I've seen pieces of it already, the science of consistency applied to trading. What are 2 key things that I can do while I'm teaching people what I do for a living that I can teach them how to be more consistent when I'm teaching them my setups? Because when I'm going through bond trading boot camp and stuff like that, I'm usually pretty good. Like my success rate's anywhere from 50 to 70% of people that make a kill. I mean, they're making money. Like if I usually sell a bond trading boot camp course for like $1,000, right? And I want to make them anywhere from 3 to 4 times that amount real quick within the first 3 or 4 weeks of the course, right? They have good vibes from it. They're making money. They paid me $1,000 and now they've already made, $3, $4, $5,000. And usually I can get most of the people there. But there's a percentage of people anywhere from 50 to 25%, depending on each boot camp, that I cannot get to be consistent because they're just getting in their way. What are 2 things that I can do, Brian, to help them be more consistent while, like, I'll give you an example, like the last bond trading boot camp or the time before last, I made $12,000. And then this previous one, I made $7,000, right? And it's all just trading just a 1 lot in front of them all live. When they're with me and I'm trading with them, they seem to perform better. But then when I turn them loose and I leave them to their own devices, they seem to get less consistent. What are some things that I can do? And you don't have to give me your entire presentation. Just give me 1 or 2 things that I can show them or help them be more consistent with what I'm teaching them.
Well, that is a good question. And you're not the only trading educator that's run into that. I've had this conversation a number of times over the years because as an educator, they run into the same thing as you. And now, as far as consistency, there are psychological aspects to it. And they're purely psychological. But one thing that a lot of people don't realize, what I'm going to be talking about in the presentation, is the practical aspects of it, kind of the hard side of consistency. But speaking just to your question, from a psychological standpoint, something that you can just give them in a few minutes and they can run with it. Well, one of the first things is, and I was just having this conversation yesterday with one of my clients, is it's real important for people to be aware of their self-talk, what they're saying to themselves when they're trading. And very specifically what I'm talking about is if they're sitting there looking at this and like you were saying, you look at it as, I'm losing $156 or whatever the amount is. If they're looking at every trade and their focus is on the risk and that's what they're saying to themselves and, they're nervous about, the loss, and that's what they're focusing on. And again, they just keep repeating it in their head, or sometimes out loud. I know a lot of traders talk to themselves. Sometimes I do when I'm trading. But the self-talk is huge because, and here's what I'm talking about. If they're sitting there saying, and they look at every trade that they put on, and okay, they're risking $150, but they say, with every trade, they know what the expectancy of their system is. It's overall, over the long term, every trade is going to be worth $250. Instead of saying, gosh, I'm risking $150 and I'm nervous about that. If they say, well, no, every trade I place, I'm making $250. Regardless of what happens with the trade, every trade I place is worth $250.
I got you. So how do I get them to buy into that? Because when I'm going through it, I have a conversation with them like, all right, now here's how this thing works. It works 3 or 4 times out of 10. And here's what's going to happen, because I've seen it happen only 1,000 times. We're going to do a trade. It's going to stop us out for 156. We're going to do another trade. It's going to stop us out for 156. And you're going to take both of those. And then you're going to turn into a chicken shit. I'm going to do the third trade, and it's going to make a lot of money. And you're not going to take it because you're like, this is bullshit. This doesn't work. Right? Is it because of the resident? It's the residue of the bad memory of either a massive loss they've had in the past or the current losses that they had, and they just don't trust the setup? Is that what it is? Are they just looking at it wrong?
Well, sure. Well, I mean, you just nailed it right on the head right there. It's a lack of confidence. It's that doubt that they have that's messing with them. And I'll speak to this directly in my presentation. It's one of a very tangible way to address this. But yeah, when you're sitting there trading and you're filled with doubt and anxiety, and you look at the charts and you get into a trade, and all of a sudden all the memories of every bad trade you've had, especially the really painful ones, keeps running through your head.
And then they jump out too early, or they hold it too long, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're shaking those associations and that whole mental frame that they're working in at that moment. Yeah, it's so emotional, it's so negative. It's really going to be tough for them to trade properly. One trick that I tell them, I don't know if it works for everybody, but I try to get them to ask better questions, right? Because usually when you're in a little bit of a drawdown, and the way that the bonds work for me, I'm only right 3 or 4 times out of 10 with this one particular setup that I'm teaching them. So what I try to get them to say is like, hey, I need you to ask a better question, because as soon as you start going through a few losses, you start going, oh my God, why do I suck at this? Why am I such a loser? Right? And then your brain answers your questions like, because you've always been a loser and you're always going to be a loser, right? Like, so what type of questions can I have them ask themselves so that they will actually have a better answer to that question? Well, really they need to future pace themselves a little bit and give themselves a different focus. Instead of looking so much to the past and the pain and all that kind of stuff, they really, and this is a general thing, and it's part of the purely psychological side of things, but really where they hold their focus. If they hold their focus in the future and they know that they are working on their trading, they know that they're making improvements, however small, and they're still not there yet, but they know they're moving in the right direction. Well, then they can look ahead to when things are working well, and go ahead and describe that picture and paint that picture. What are things going to look like when I am trading the way I want to trade? And just focusing on that, it's a really good practice to get out a pad and paper or type in in a Word document or something like that. What that's going to look like, so that they have that mental picture to focus on. Even though they might be in the middle of a trade and their knees are knocking and they're shaking in the chair, just to have something else that they can focus on momentarily to take some of the energy out of the negative stuff that's working on.
Right.
And if they do that consistently, and I tell some of my clients, it's like, take that description of things working well, stick it up on the wall next to your monitor so that you can look at it regularly and start programming your head toward that scenario, instead of always focusing on the painful past and just reinforcing that. Because this as well as anybody, what you focus on a regular basis is what you program into your head. Yep. And you plan in your subconscious as something that you're going to move toward, whether it's good or whether it sucks. Sure. So, it's where you have to take a very conscious effort to, give yourself something positive to latch onto, something that you can, have right there for you to work on, especially in those moments when you're nervous and everything. It's like, no, I need to change my energy. I need to change my focus. And okay, so I'm going to consciously make the effort to, look at this and read through it and visualize with it. Just to change my energy and change the pattern that I've been working with. Because, I mean, a lot of it, yeah, it's emotions and emotional response patterns that screw everybody out. So
a couple of things that I try to get them to do. Number one, if I can make them anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 real quick, it tends to get them on the right path of recovery too, right? But one of the cool things is on some of these trade setups, it's hard to get them to actually walk away. I'm like, hey, you've got a stop in place and you have a wide target. Just go leave the PC. The stop will be okay. Just leave it alone. I have the hardest time trying to get people like you staring at the trade will actually physically just make it worse because you're either going to jump out too early or you're going to overmanage them just because you're just going to chicken shit the trade is all you're going to do. You're just going to either think that $800 is a lot of money or $4,000 is a lot of money when you could have so much more in the trade. How do I get them to not be so addicted to, all right, I'm in a trade. I have to watch every single tick that it's doing?
Well, there are a couple of things. One in particular, and again, this is one that I've just used lately, is because the guy was sitting there telling me it's the same thing. It just drives him crazy to sit there and wait. That's one of the toughest things he has. Yeah. And yeah, watching it tick by tick. And he has a fairly fast system, which is almost ironic. But what he and I decided, would be a workable solution for him is he just put up an EA. So that it'll let him know when it's like time to, or it's getting close for him to exit the trade. And so once he's in a trade, he'll activate the EA, and then he goes over and gets on his treadmill and walks or runs. And he literally physically walks away from the computer and it turns his monitor so he can't sit there and watch it from the other side of the room. But he stays within earshot so that he can hear the EA pinging, if it's time to get back over here and pay attention now. Mm-hmm. And so that's one where, yes, he's physically removing him from the charts. And it works real well. I talked to him. This is something he implemented about 6 weeks ago, and it's been working really well for him because, he just can't stand sitting there just watching it. Even though his trades only take, like 30 to 60 minutes, it kills him. It feels like all day sitting there waiting for that half hour to go by. Right. So he can set it up, get in the trade, trigger his EA, and then he walks over to the other side of the room and occupies himself with something else.
I got you. Well, Brian, man, nice to meet you. Nice talking to you. Guys, I'm going to turn Brian loose. His presentation is Inside Out. Inside Out is trading is his company name. The science of consistency applied to trading. Make more money no matter how you trade. It's really important. A lot of people, believe it or not, they don't get into this stuff, and it's the most important thing that you can apply. I can tell you from me doing it consistently myself, I don't have a problem with taking small drawdowns. I don't want them to be large. Small's fine. But when I'm teaching people how to trade, most of the stuff that I have the hardest issues with is most people's head stuff. Like they're asking bad questions, they're getting bad answers, or mommy and daddy when they were kids fought over money and they have a problem with like making too much money. They'll piss it away or just burn through it and stuff like that. So pay attention. Brian's going to teach you some really cool stuff on the science of consistency applied to your trading. Brian, it's all yours.
Excellent. Thanks, Hubert. That was an enjoyable conversation. Thanks for doing that. That was very cool. And everybody, welcome, seriously, to the science of consistency applied to trading. This is how to get predictable profits no matter how you trade without relying on discipline. And this is brought to you by Brian McAboy of InsideOutTrading.com. Yes, that would be me. And I'm really glad that you're here today because you're about to learn the one thing that no one else has been able to teach you in your trading career, and that is a very specific process to trade consistently in a comfortable, sensible manner without relying on discipline or willpower, and regardless of what you trade or the method that you use. Now, why this matters, of course, this is arguably the most important aspect of your trading. Without a means to be consistent, you leave thousands of dollars on the table that should be in your account. You miss out on profits that you should have, and you incur losses that you should not. And really, this is critical to everything else in your trading because you can have the best computer setup, the best data feed, the best platform, the best strategy, the best system, the best everything. You can be doing a lot of things very right. But if you don't have a process, a means, a method to be consistent yourself, then none of that other stuff really matters. So how does inconsistency show up? Well, every time you fail to do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, and every time you do something that you shouldn't do. Those are inconsistencies. Now, more specifically in your trading, every time you hesitate and miss out on a trade or you get in late, every time you get out early and then watch the market continue to run, every time you stay in a trade too long, turning a winner into a loser or a loser into a big loser, and really any time you deviate from your system, it costs you in both time, money, and confidence. Now, the problem here is you know what you're supposed to do, but not actually doing it consistently day in and day out, week in and week out. This is where it gets so costly that it often keeps many traders from ever making it. And it's also usually why traders give up, defeated, because they've never been able to get this part of it down. And that's what we're here to fix today. So this is really cool. If you've been trading for any length of time, you know how trading works and you know how your system works. But you're also aware, at least on some level, that you've been missing a critical piece of the puzzle. And that is a clear, workable means, method, process to be consistent so that you can trade free from doubt, anxiety, and fear. And the science of consistency, that's what we're going to talk about today. And you're going to find out that it's very real, and you're going to discover that you can enjoy the consistency that you want, trading comfortably and in a relaxed manner without relying on discipline or willpower, fighting with your emotions, and without having to dredge up and deal with a lifetime of issues on a therapist's couch. Now, why should you listen to me? Well, for the last 24 years in my career, and I've covered a few different occupations, the last 24 years has been focused on consistency. I started trading back in 2004, so I've been around a while, and I know what's going on with the various experiences and evolutions that the whole industry has gone through. I'm also a degreed mechanical engineer and a process engineer. I'm a certified quality engineer by the American Society for Quality. I'm a business coach and a consultant. And for the last 11 years, I've been helping traders overcome a variety of issues, largely psychological and functional issues. And because I take a rather unconventional and unique approach, I've had many trading educators and brokers take my courses so that they can incorporate these learnings into what they do for their clients. Now, the other reason that I'm glad that you're here is it just breaks my heart every time I get an email from somebody saying that they wish they'd found me sooner, that they see how what I teach would have made a difference for them. But by the time our paths have crossed, it was too late. They've already lost so much trading capital that now they can't continue and have to quit. But see, the reason that I'm glad you're here and the reason I'm glad you're here now is it tells me that it's not too late for you, and that's excellent. Now, what's possible in the work that I do and in working with me and learning what I'll be showing you today? Well, instead of taking months or years before you work through these issues and get a handle on discipline and consistency in your trading, we're talking days or weeks, and that's excellent. And because I use a real-world approach, again, I'm an engineer. I'm a quality engineer. So my whole function in life has been focusing on what works. Theories, speculation, claims, they don't matter. If it doesn't work, it doesn't count. And so that's been a driving underlying theme for me for my whole adult life. And the cool thing about this is when you get something that actually works for you, now you can get some freedom from the self-blame and the guilt of not getting your trading working and feeling lost about how to get it working. You can be free from all that, and that's really cool. Also, you can leave the old experience of the struggling trading and the nonprofit trading, all that kind of stuff, you can leave it in the past. Another nice thing about this is, again, when you turn the corner and you finally see, okay, yeah, here's how to make it work. Now you can have some genuine, renewed optimism about your trading, and that's fantastic. Now, if you've ever wondered, what is it about trading? This seems so simple on the surface. Why can't I get it to work? Why can't I beat this? Well, then you're definitely in the right place. If you're tired of not knowing how to fix your trading and get it working, if you're tired of struggling with discipline issues, I've had people come to me that have been trading 4, 5, 8, 10, 12, 14 years, and they're still struggling with discipline issues. If you know that you have a decent system, but you've got lingering doubts about it, or you're doubting yourself or your ability to trade. If you want more from your trading, whether you're losing money right now, you're at break even, or you're making some money, but you want more, then you're definitely in the right place. And if you've had your confidence shaken and you just want it back in what you're doing, then again, you're definitely in the right place. Now, what this says about you, the fact that you're here right now says that you are serious about making your trading a success, and that's very cool. Because you took action by participating in this masterclass, it shows that you understand the importance of education and developing yourself as a trader. It also says that you survived the early stages of your trading career and you've made it this far, which is commendable because the markets can be a cruel teacher. And probably most importantly, you're not a quitter. You're determined to get there. You're tough. That's excellent. Now, we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about the 3 commonly held misperceptions that are holding you back from realizing consistent results in your trading, what the science of consistency is, where it comes from, and how applying it to your trading will finally let you trade with some poise and confidence, knowing that you're okay regardless of what the markets may throw at you. Now, I'm going to pause right now on this one because one of my favorite questions to ask people is, how do you define success as a trader? And almost everybody, their answer is, well, I want to get profitable. Well, see, that's not it, though. I know plenty of traders who've been profitable, for 2, 3, 4, 6 months straight, and they're still a nervous wreck every day going to their trading. So here's the thing. I've found that you know you've made it as a trader when you can go to the markets and you know that you're okay. You just have that deep knowing about yourself. You're not nervous. You're not anxious. You're not worried about what's going on in the markets, if it's volatile, if it's not, if it's an election year, none of that stuff. None of that worries you. You just know that you're okay and you can go trade and trade with confidence. That's when you've made it as a trader, and that's really cool. Again, this is where the science of consistency goes really a long way toward that end. You're going to see how the science of consistency has been used for decades in industries outside of trading to maximize profits, but more importantly, give the owners of the businesses peace of mind and security. That's huge. Also, how you're going to learn how, without understanding what you gain here, you can have the best system in the world, put forth your best, most sincere effort to stick to your rules, and you'll still struggle with repeated hesitation and mistakes. And you'll continue to live with doubt, anxiety, struggle, and disappointment. I mean, it's a simple fact. If you don't know how to be consistent, if you're constantly fighting with your emotions, you're just never going to have peace of mind in your trading. We're going to cover all this today. You're going to see that there is a way to turn all this around and really have the experience that you're looking for in your trading. Now, we have a very short time, less than an hour, so do pay attention. I'm going to try to keep this to about 45 minutes. You can tell I'm talking fast. I do want to get through everything, and I respect your time and mine. Excuse me. Okay. Now, one thing is, I guarantee you, I'm going to be talking fast, but I'm going to give you as much as I can in a short period of time. And the main thing is, I want you to walk away from here with something really useful. And I guarantee you, before we're done, you're going to be looking at your trading and thinking about it in an entirely different way, a very beneficial and helpful way. Just the perspectives that you gain here is going to be excellent. Now, I might sound a little cocky, but I've seen it in action. I've done it hundreds of times. It just plain works. And make sure to write down any questions you have and save them for the end. And also at the end, yes, I do have an offer for you. If you want to take this further, if you feel that yes, you gained value in what I've shared with you and you see how it makes sense, for you, and you want to take it further, well, I'll show you how you can do that as well. Now, even better, if you want to take advantage of the special offer, gain the benefit, and pay for it later out of your profits, I'll show you how you can do that too. Now, whether you choose to take me up on the offer or not, you'll have some takeaways from this that you can use today to see an immediate impact in your trading. Okay, in addition to what you're going to learn, I also have an extra reward for you. I have a gift for you for following through, for being here, for showing up, and for sticking around to the end and taking action on your own behalf. And you're going to love this. It's called the Trading System Profit Potential Calculator. It's a tool that I created several years ago with a real simple purpose, so that you can very quickly and simply, to the dollar, determine a trading system's profit potential, whether it's your system or any system you might be considering. This is really excellent, so that you're not going on claims or hopes or wishes anymore. You know to the dollar what the real profit potential is for any given trading system. It's a very cool tool, and it's my gift for you, again, for showing up and following through here today. Now, I know that you have goals. It's never really about the money. Nobody ever says, I want to make $100,000 just for the sake of having $100,000 and I'm never going to spend it. No, you have people in your life that you want to do things for, that you want to support, whether it's your spouse, your family, your kids, your grandkids, your church, some philanthropic organization, whatever. It's never just about you. You're doing this for more than just you, and I admire and appreciate you for this. And that's why I want to help you make it. I do what I do because I know there are a lot of really good people, very sincere people that get into trading, and I want to help you make it and get there quickly and avoid all the heartache and anguish that are so commonplace in trading. And that's why I'm here. I want to help you reach your goals. Now, understand something. In this struggle, you are really not the only one having consistency as a major issue. You are not alone in this. It's probably the number one issue for most traders, but it's even bigger than that. See, consistency is the foundation of success and the primary determinant of profitability for nearly all businesses on the planet, every single one. I mean, think about it. With service businesses, inconsistency means wasted time, rework, lost customers, damaged reputation, then results in higher costs to acquire new customers. For businesses that sell goods, for providers of products, inconsistency means downtime, scrap, rework, chargebacks, returns, customer claims, along with all the same costs for service businesses. Inconsistencies, almost all these, except the damage to your reputation, almost all these are direct costs that come off your bottom line. So consistency really is a huge matter when it comes to business, regardless of what your business is. And again, think about it. As far as consistency, here's how big it is. If you think about it in your own experience, if you go to a service provider, maybe it's an accountant or an attorney or to get your hair cut, whatever, it doesn't matter what the service is. If the quality of their service is hit or miss, one time it's a great experience, but the next time it's a bit disappointing, it's not going to take you very long. It's not going to take a whole lot of that. And you're looking for another provider. Nobody likes to feel anxious about the service they're going to get. You want to know what you're going to get every time and that it's consistent. Even if it's not great, it has to be consistent. Same thing goes for goods, whether they're consumable or durable goods. If the quality of what they deliver is inconsistent, it costs them in all sorts of ways. And of course, for traders, every inconsistency comes with a cost, whether it's missed profits, a direct loss, reinforcing the wrong things, like when deviation results in profit out of sheer luck, and almost always damaged confidence. It's key for everyone. I mean, it is paramount for all types of businesses, not just traders, because again, inconsistency comes straight off the bottom line as a direct cost, as well as contributing to many indirect costs. So, how much is it costing you? Well, I have this conversation with people on a fairly regular basis. A lot of times, they'll say, okay, how can I tell how much it's costing me? I mean, I know it's costing me, but I have no idea how to tell. I have no idea how much in actual dollars. And because I was a quality engineer for a long time, I was able to develop a rule of thumb to get a pretty accurate estimation on this. Now, for trading, if you use 1% of your account for the average cost of an erroneous trade where you deviate from your rules and something screws up, any deviation from your rules is an inconsistency. Any deviation from your system. If you use 1% for your account, 1% of your account for the average cost of an inconsistency, it's a very valid rule of thumb. Now, again, you can also estimate the percentage of times that you don't follow your rules. If you're not already tracking it, it's pretty easy to estimate. Let's say out of 50 trades, there's like 10, where out of those 50 trades, you weren't sticking strictly to your rules. You're fudging it a little bit. Maybe you had one or two big mistakes in there. This is pretty easy to estimate. So again, out of 20, 50, or 100 trades, you can estimate roughly how many times you're not sticking to your rules 100%. And then you want to estimate the number of trades you place in a year. Then you just multiply all three numbers, and that'll tell you what your annual cost of inconsistency is. So, for an example, let's say you have a $25,000 account, and you're being a prudent trader. You have an average per trade risk of 2%. Now, that's $500 on any given trade. That's how much you're risking. And that's why I say, with 1%, it works out. Again, this is just from experience and doing this a whole bunch of times. Anyway, if you're risking $500, an average cost per error of $250 is pretty reasonable. Sometimes a mistake is going to cost you the full $500, sometimes more, other times not so much. Sometimes it'll be a big one. So use an average $250 for an inconsistency. Again, it's very reasonable and it's proven out. Now let's say out of 50 trades, being honest with yourself, there were 10 out of those 50 trades that, yes, you didn't really stick to your rules. Maybe you had some major errors in there. And of course, the number of trades that you're placing, if you're placing one trade per trading day, there's 252 of those. We use 250 to keep the numbers round. That's 250 trades per year. So if we do the math, $250 per inconsistency times 20% times 250 trades per year, that's $12,500 per year. That is a direct cost of inconsistency. That's money that's not in your account that should be there. It's a direct cost. This is substantial. And if you look at that, it's like, oh, wait a minute. That's like half my account balance. And that's true. This is assuming that you're being pretty consistent, that you're sticking to your rules really well 80% of the time. And that's doing pretty good. That's better than average if you're doing 80%. It really is. Now, that's the direct cost, but you also have a lot of indirect costs. You have all the lost time with those trades. You have the lost compounding opportunity. Instead of that $12,500 being in your account for you to compound and work with next year, it's not there. And this one is huge. You have the lost confidence. Every time you screw up, it hurts your integrity. Every time you do something that you're not supposed to do, or you fail to do something you're supposed to do and do it when you're supposed to do it, it hurts your integrity. That damages your confidence and your self-esteem, and it only makes it tougher to do things right in the future. You know what I'm talking about. This also, it increases your doubt and your anxiety about your trading in general, because now not only are you feeling more anxious about what the markets might do, you're beginning to doubt your system, you're doubting yourself, you're feeling a whole bunch of anxiety right now. Because of all this doubt, you don't know what to expect. So you have this fear of the unknown working on you, and that's a big cost. And of course, in addition to the fear of the unknown, now you've got the fear of failure, fear of massive failure, all kinds of fears compounding on you. Again, these are indirect costs. These are personal costs. Now, before we continue, we're going to come back to all that. It's really important right now, if we're going to be able to move you forward, to address some misperceptions, and here's why. This is one of my favorite quotes. I actually put it on the door of the quality lab that I used to run in manufacturing. It's a quote by Will Rogers. It says, "The problem ain't what we don't know. It's what we think we know that ain't so." And basically what we're saying with that is if you hold incorrect or false beliefs about things, it will prevent you from thinking correctly. And with trading, that's really massive because it keeps you from solutions that will let you move forward. And here's what I'm talking about. I have tons of people coming to me all the time. And this is the main thing I hear from a lot of people is, hey, Brian, I'm fighting all this stuff in my trader, but what I need to fix really, I'm the problem, is it's me. I need to fix me. And here's the thing. Again, this illustrates the point about incorrect thinking. Now, you're right in one regard when you say what I need to fix is me. Because as you are right now, the trader you are right now, if you choose, if you continue as you are, yes, you won't make it, because if you were the trader that you needed to be successful, you wouldn't be struggling. But the fact that you're struggling says, hey, there's something, as you are right now, something's got to change. But you're wrong in thinking that you have a personal problem. People are telling me all the time, Brian, I've got this problem. It must be my discipline, or, my beliefs, or I must have, some issues, or, a problem with my relationship with money. It's like, no, here's the thing. As a person, you're okay. You really are. And here's proof of that statement. Just the fact that you're in a position to trade, it shows that you've demonstrated that you have what it takes to succeed as a trader. If you aren't sufficiently okay with discipline, if you had issues with money or success, if you really had major issues with any of those, you would not be in a position to trade. The fact that you're here demonstrates that you, as a person, you've got what it takes. You're okay as a person. Now, as a trader, however, you're missing something. It's just such a tiny percentage of people that get into trading that get an actual good, truly good education and training as a trader. Almost everybody gets horrible, dreadful training as a trader. It's like, here's how you open an account and fund it. Here's the system. Go get busy. And that's the extent of your training. That sucks. That's no way to jump into an occupation like this. Yes, of course you're missing something. You're trying to figure out how to swim, not just in the middle of a lake. You're in the rapids. And this is not the place to figure out how to swim by getting thrown from the boat. As a trader, you're missing something. As a person, you're okay. But the problem is, so long as you think it's a personal issue and you just keep beating yourself up, that you need to be more disciplined, saying stuff to yourself like, oh, I suck, I'm a loser, it's all these personal issues, then that's where you're going to focus, and you're going to miss the real problem and the real solution. And that's the danger in all this, and that's why I bring this misperception to you. As a person, you're okay. You've got what it takes. As a trader is where you need to focus. And of course, all the self-blame, the chastising, beating yourself up, that's all counterproductive because it certainly doesn't help your confidence or anything else. Okay, here's the thing, and the neat thing about it. When you focus on yourself in the proper and constructive manner, instead of saying, I've got a lack of discipline, got all these deeper issues, that are not helpful. When you look at and you understand, wait a minute, there actually is more to the story. There is a way to be consistent without just being disciplined. There's another way to accomplish it. That's cool. So when you gain the proper perspective, it lets you see the complete picture, and the picture changes. And when you get the right and proper training, your mind is expanded, and so your perception of yourself, your perception of trading, and what's possible has changed. You become a different trader, and when you change, everything changes. When you trade as a different trader with a whole new perspective, the old triggers lose their power over you because you are different. You've changed yourself and broken the pattern, and that's cool. Now, jumping back to consistency as a focus, here's an example that you may be well aware of how big of a deal this can really be. Now, like I've told you, this is from other industries where the science of consistency comes from. We're going to tie all this together in just a couple minutes. Now, you're probably well aware, back in the 60s and 70s, the Japanese car companies, back then it was Datsun and Toyota and Honda, they had a not-so-great reputation. Their cars were cute, and people liked them because they were cute and they were fun little sporty cars, but they were cheap little cars. That was their reputation. They were cheap little cars. The Japanese were just focused on spending as little as possible on their operations and people, thinking that it was saving them money, and that's how they were competing, was just on price. And the thing is, they had poor profit margins. They had high costs in their scrap rates, and they had difficulty competing with the American car manufacturers and around the world because of their reputation of just making cheap little cars. But they had a huge turnaround in the 80s, and it was really cool. They hired Deming, who came in. He was an American, and they hired him, and he was bringing the whole quality assurance concept with him, not quality control. Now, a lot of people have heard of quality control. I'm sure you have too. But see, there's a huge difference between quality control and quality assurance. Quality control is when you have whatever it is you're making, and you run, and you make as much as you can, and you put some inspectors on the line, and they're checking everything, picking off the bad stuff, hoping that none of it gets out the door and sent to a customer. That's quality control. Quality assurance is what Deming taught the Japanese. And this is where you get such a handle on what you're doing that you know what's going down the line before it ever gets there. You don't need inspectors on the line because you have such a handle on what you're doing in your daily processes that, again, that's why it's called quality assurance. You're assured you know what you're making. It's not a guessing game. That was totally cool. Well, with this change in mentality and approach to what they were doing, and they applied Deming's recommendations. Well, all of a sudden, in the 80s, now the Japanese are setting new standards. Now, granted, Volvo was the first one to do this, but if you remember back in the 60s and 70s, the odometer in most cars had 5 digits because it was rare that a car would go past 100,000 miles. It just didn't happen a whole lot. Volvo was the first one to have a 6-digit odometer, but it didn't take long until all the Japanese cars had 6-digit odometers. They were making such good, reliable cars that they were expecting them to go to 200,000 miles. They upped the standards for everybody on the quality of the cars. Now, this was great because not only did the longevity of cars come around, now all of a sudden you've got Honda and Toyota and Datsun when we switched to Nissan. Now, their prestige and their reputation and their market share and everything, they saw these dramatic improvements because now, instead of focusing on just competing on price and making cheap little cars and hoping they could sell them because they're cheap, now they have the reputation of being the quality manufacturers. They're making good cars. The American manufacturers, they got passed by. And now, instead of people saying, well, if I want a good car, I'll buy an American. No, everybody's saying, no, you got to go buy a Japanese. Go buy a Honda or a Toyota, and then you'll have a good car you can count on. And so the reputations, it was dramatic, the difference. Now, I'm telling you stuff you already know. The thing is, from a business standpoint, these improvements in quality, instead of focusing on buying cheap manufacturing equipment, cheap materials, and cheap labor, and not training people, all this kind of stuff, all trying to keep their costs down, instead of saying, we're going to go the cheap route about it and deal with all the bad stuff from the inconsistency and the poor quality, now they totally changed their focus. And they said, now we're going to focus on quality equipment, quality processes, quality design, train our people so they do a good job. We're going to make good cars. And what they found was those costs going into it were so much less than the cost of poor quality and the reputation and everything else. They were able to reduce their costs by buying better equipment, better materials, by taking the time and spending the money to train the people and all that kind of stuff. So their overall costs went down, and now, because they have a better reputation, they're able to charge more on the sales end of it. So the profit margin increased on both ends. They're able to charge a higher price for cars and produce them at a lower cost. They also reduce their scrap and their rework and all those other things that we listed as far as the cost of inconsistency in manufacturing. So this was huge. Now, because of these dramatic improvements to their cars and the profitability and the reputations, they became able to compete in the luxury car markets as well and create and establish a tremendous market share. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Honda, all of a sudden, they improved their position, opened up the whole new car company, Acura. Toyota, they opened up Lexus. And Nissan opened up Infiniti. Now they're competing in an entirely different market because they had gotten so good at what they were doing, and that's absolutely cool. Now, the funny thing about it is, it's not funny, it's very real. Japan went from being a nation that was struggling in the 20 years following World War II to all of a sudden now they're back to being an economic superpower and setting the standard for the rest of the world as far as quality, and again, perceived as being the best of the best, and it was excellent. Okay, so how is all this related to trading? That's a good question. You see, prior to trading, I was a quality manager in a manufacturing plant. We were making plastic bottles for Pepsi, Coke, Gatorade, and that kind of stuff. We had a lot of equipment. It was a huge plant. You'd be amazed how much soda and water people drank, really. Our monthly revenues were around $1 million a month, and we were just one of 16 plants here in the U.S., just in our company. Now, this was a high-speed, high-volume, razor-thin margin operation. If we got shut down, or heaven forbid, we shut down a customer because we couldn't supply them or they ran into a quality issue, we could get billed up to $35,000 per hour. We absolutely had, we had zero margin for error. As the quality manager, it was my job to make sure that throughout the entire plant, we had everybody doing their absolute best, running the most consistent day in and day out, shift to shift across all the departments. And we didn't have a consistent, reliable operation all the way across the plant. We had to, because if we had inconsistencies or screw-ups, it just killed us. Now, one thing I did, I sat down with the plant controller early on when I first went down there to open up the plant. We took a look at it, and we realized that even running as well as we were, we had $180,000 a month of what we were incurring in costs between all the different inconsistencies. Just in being able to cut that in half, not shooting for perfection, but just cutting it in half, added $90,000 a month, over $1 million a year, straight to our bottom line. So yes, cutting inconsistencies was huge. And again, I was the quality manager there. Quality and consistency were my responsibility. I was the guy responsible throughout the plant. Everybody was looking to me for this, for this kind of guidance and leadership. Now, as far as how it relates to trading, this is really cool because I had a lot of people. I went through the spell back in 2008, 2009, 2010. I had a lot of people coming to me, and it seemed that hesitation was the theme. Everybody's telling me, Brian, I just can't stop hesitating. I can't seem to pull the trigger. I just can't seem to get into the trade when I'm supposed to. And everybody's finding the same issues. And I'm like, okay, fine. So we explored a lot of the standard psychological causes of things, stuff you hear about in all the other trading psychology conversations and the forums and stuff around the internet. And it just wasn't working. And after a while, I was looking at it like this, and it's like, wait a minute. We need to step back here for a second because everybody's looking at this all wrong. So one day in a conversation, it occurred to me to ask one of my coaching clients, I said, Bill, what is a trading system? And he's like, well, it's my rules, my indicators, my charts. That's my system. And as I asked other people this was a standard answer I got. But if I go back to my quality days in manufacturing and look at this, it's like, no, your trading system, it's not your indicators and your rules. It's what you do. It's your process for identifying and placing and executing trades. It's your business process. Now, I went through this mental shift and started taking a lot of the things that I was using in manufacturing to get consistent performance out of everybody and helping my trading clients understand how to apply it to their trading. And as we started doing it, it was really cool because the issues that they had been struggling with just fell away very naturally by themselves. They didn't have to fight with them anymore. It was no longer a struggle. Things were working all of a sudden, and it was cool. All the problems just faded away, and their confidence in themselves and what they were doing, it soared. All of a sudden, they're like, wow, I can do this now. So now if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Again, with trading as an industry, this is a common problem, but it's not a personal problem. It's not an issue with individuals like you. Again, as a person, you're okay. This is a systemic issue with the whole trading industry. There's no good standard of trading for everybody to make you into a good trader. So it's a systemic issue. Now, I'd seen this before in a manufacturing role and with businesses that I've consulted with to help them get their operations ironed out. See, the thing is, it's a process control issue. Trading is a process. It's a decision-making process and the core business process in your trading operation. Really, process control is the science of consistency. It's how you get a handle on what you're doing so that you get a consistent output in what you're doing versus versus manufacturing process. Of course, trading is a whole different process. And it took somebody, and I was very fortunate to be in a position to do it, where I had both the quality experience and manufacturing experience and other business experience in addition to trading to be able to bring it all together so that it works for traders, so that you can apply a process control to your trading and using the full methodology and tools from quality. Now, again, I have personal experience in both fields, not just a little summer camp or 3-day weekend boot camp. I've lived this stuff for years. I was good at it. I was able to take our plant from last in the division with our customers as far as quality and profitability, and within 2 years, we're at the top of both rankings. We're getting awards and everything. I am good at this. I do understand this stuff. It's my background. It's my natural inclination and where my strengths are. And being able to bring it to the trading world has been very cool. And what I've been able to do is create a program specifically for traders so that you can apply this to your trading. And again, not rely on discipline or willpower. You can have another way to get that consistency you want, but do it in a comfortable manner and without fighting with your emotions and stuff. So here's the process. I'm just going to walk you through the steps of the process. And here's a quote from Deming, and I absolutely love this because it is so true. If you can't describe what you're doing as a process, you don't know what you're doing. Absolutely. Now remember, this is the guy that helped the Japanese turn their entire economy around. But okay, so back in 2007, I had a lot of traders coming to me for help with back testing. And it was funny because everybody recognized the importance of it, the various value and benefits in doing it. But I had a whole bunch of people coming to me and saying, Brian, I can't even back test my system. I'm like, okay, well, let's take a look at what you got. Not only did they not have anything written down, most of them, they basically just had an idea for a trading system. It wasn't even really a system. And let alone, being defined and documented properly. They knew how to place trades, but as far as doing it in a repeatable manner, no way. So again, you have to be able to describe what you're doing as a process because it is a business process. And here's where the major challenge comes in. The markets are a dynamic environment and changing every day. No two charts are identical. So, you have to know how to define your system properly so that it will function as intended and be easily repeatable within this ever-changing and highly uncertain environment. Most traders don't know how to do this or have a process for it. So it's no wonder the consistency is such a challenge. If you don't get this part of it right, all your other efforts will be in vain. But when you do get this right, this provides that solid foundation for good, consistent execution that makes everything else so much easier. Now, the cool thing about this is when you get your system properly defined and documented for consistency, when you do this with every one of my clients, this is what happened. All of a sudden, they're feeling a wonderful sense of clarity about what they're doing. There's no longer this anxiety, this lingering doubt about themselves or their system, this foggy feeling in their head. And foggy really is probably a great way to describe it because it was just kind of an unclear feeling, Anyway, but when we go through this, in addition to the clarity, every single person would have this experience. And I mean, I was really surprised at first, but after a lot of people expressed it, what they said to me was, I had this feeling of lightness. Not so much the common thing you'd expect where it's like, I had this weight lifted off my shoulder. The way they described it to me was, Brian, I just had this feeling of lightness about me. I feel good. It's like I've lost 20 pounds. This is so cool. And this is largely due to the dramatic reduction of stress about what they were doing. Now, okay, so to the next step. Once you got your process properly defined, now it's time for the successful deployment of it. And here's where we attend to the catch-22 that gets so many traders off in a wreck. And I'm sure you run into this yourself. Everybody does. I've run into it too. Most traders can't stick to their system long enough to establish the confidence they need to stick to it for any length of time. And here's where we confirm your system's functionality, repeatability, potential for profit, and its strengths and weaknesses. By knowing how to properly test and analyze your system, you give yourself clear proof, the proof that you need to have reasonable and realistic expectations and to comfortably stick to your rules, even when you run into a handful of losses. This is huge. But see, simple back testing by itself isn't enough. I have people come to me regularly wanting help understanding why they can't get their real-time trading results to match up with their backtest results. You've probably heard it before, and you may have experienced this yourself as well. There are certain tricks of the trade when it comes to testing and analyzing the process so that your test results are truly representative of your system's actual performance and what to expect. Now, a caution here. If you don't have a thorough understanding of testing and analysis process, you may get misleading information and numbers which will actually work against you because now you're not working with an accurate baseline and a proper representation of what to expect from your system. You have to understand how the analysis is arrived at and how to read the numbers in a meaningful way. And here's where my years of experience in process engineering and quality assurance can save you tons of grief because realistic expectations are absolutely critical. And now that we've established the initial, baseline and got that determined, the next part is to further establish your confidence in your system through maximizing its profitability so that you know that it's delivering to its full potential. Now, it's very important to make changes in a very calculated manner, not trial and error, not, I think I'll try this, or, I read about this on a forum and I think I'll give it a try, where it's a lot of guesswork. Not like that at all. This is a very organized, methodical, very business-like process. Always moving you forward, not the trader shuffle of 1 step forward, 2 steps back, slide to the side, and repeat. Using this process, your system is solid and can be realistically counted on to deliver. And once the system is completed, now you can go to the markets with your well-tested and proven system, knowing that you're okay. And here's the neat thing. When we go through this and we prove it out, we do the proper testing and analysis instead of being nervous about the markets, feeling like there's somebody on the other side of the screen that's just screwing with you and trying to take your money. Now it's a feeling of peace with the markets. It really is the best way to describe it. You can just be at peace and the markets can be there and you're all right. Now, again, you're not nervous. Everything becomes matter of fact. It's no longer this personal turmoil. And again, it's a further reduction of stress. And a lot of fears and anxiety go away when you get a good solid handle on some good proof and evidence in front of you of what your system can and can't do. Now, the nicest thing about this is, and this is really cool again, in changing you as a trader and you as a day-to-day trader, you get this mental shift from survival now. Again, instead of thinking about survival and struggle and beating yourself up and all that consumes your mentality, now you get to focus on expansion in what you're doing and in growth of, about your trading. Now you're thinking, hey, I've got something that works. Now what else can I do? I mean, there's this and there's this and there's this that I've wanted to try for a real long time. Now I can do it and see if it actually works. And another thing is you'd be thinking, wow, now I've got it defined. It's proven it's working. Now I'm maximizing it. I'm fired up. You've got that eagerness to go engage the markets. And it's really cool because now you have a genuine excitement about yourself and your future as a trader. Now, step 3, this is where we make your continued success happen. Now, the markets are dynamic and change over time, so it's inevitable that sooner or later you'll see a change in performance of your system. And one common problem that I hear regularly about from people is when their system works for a while and it's working okay, but then it stops working or they see a decline and they don't know what to do. When this happens, this can be tremendously frustrating. And this is where the lack of adequate training really turns trading into a bad experience for many people. Things aren't working, and you know you need to do something. And what most traders do is they start making changes with good intentions for sure, but the common result is that after a while you've made a bunch of changes and things still aren't working, but now you don't know for sure which changes helped and which made things worse. Just like with any other process, the key is to monitor your performance, not just your process performance, not just your profits. And you use your metrics to adapt to the changing marketplace conditions. And the main thing is to not react and start making changes out of panic, but instead to respond in a calculated and organized manner. And the outcome of step 3 is now that you have a true feeling of security in your trading, no more anxiety and lingering doubt about your future as a trader. You just have this general sense of ease and peace with the stress now becoming a distant memory because you know how to handle anything that happens in the markets, both today and if things change in the future. And you have this wonderfully freeing outcome is now that you've gone through these steps, your emotions no longer interfere with your trading. You trade in a calm, confident, and a very assured manner every day. Now, in this process, what I did in all this coaching with these people was I took all the problems that I found or came across with everybody, these recurring themes and stuff, and they kept coming up over and over again. And I formulated it into a very organized coaching program, and then I refined it over the course of 18 months working with dozens of traders. And the initial coaching program was pretty cool. It only cost $997, and it took about an hour or two a week for about 30 days for people to complete. And that was the best thing about it. Like I said, we're talking days or weeks, not months or years. When they came out of it, they were entirely new traders, and it was so cool. It was like their old self had become a distant dream, and it was, but only over the course of a month. And that's what was so cool about it, is this transformation taking place in such a short period of time. Now, the main thing about it is, as far as typical results, everybody was just this major sense of relief. I heard that more than anything else from anybody. And confidence. Again, people come to me, they've been just beaten up and struggled for so long. Their confidence would be at a 2 or 3 on a scale of 10. But within a few short weeks, it's like, holy cow, I'm at an 8 or a 9 now, Brian. And again, this was typical. Everybody was going through this. And the other thing is, when you go through this transformation, you'll notice it yourself, but everybody else is going to notice it too, because now you're carrying yourself differently. You have a different energy about yourself, and people will see it in you, and they'll comment to you, and it's cool. In addition to the relief, just the removal of all the stress. Now you've got a sense of ease and calm about you, and again, people will notice this. And of course, a renewed excitement toward trading. Instead of being all messed up about it, feeling down or ashamed, and you've got I don't really want to talk about it because it's embarrassing, all that kind of stuff. No, now you're fired up about it, and this is a really cool transformation. Okay, I know we've covered a lot of information, so let's recap the takeaways here. Without a process to ensure consistency, you're leaving money on the table. Absolutely true. Now, consistency is critical to all businesses, but especially traders. We looked at the example, the direct cost, money out of your account of deviating from your rules. Even if you're only deviating, say, 10 out of every 50 trades, 40 out of 50, you're still doing it 100% right. It can still cost you $12,500 a year. Direct cost, money that should be in your account that's not there. We talked about inconsistency, having a huge personal and financial indirect cost, including self-esteem, fear, all that kind of stuff. Lots of indirect costs and personal costs that are huge. And dealing with misperception. As a person, remember, you're okay, and you really need to get a handle on this. Ease up on yourself, forgive yourself, let go of all the grudges that you've held against yourself or the things that you said beating yourself up. Let all that go. As a trader, you've just been missing something like a process to be consistent. Now you know. It's not the mystery of what you can do to fix your trading. Now you know. Now, the other things, you as a trader and how you hold everything in your mind and the image of yourself and your image of trading and what you think trading is and your system and all that kind of stuff, everything changes when you change. And just the fact that you've been with me now and you've had a different look at these things, even now you're a different trader. I guarantee you, you're going to remember all this a week from now and a month from now, and you're still going to remember, and you're still going to be looking at things differently than you did up until today. Now, the other thing is how the focus on quality and process control and consistency by itself how this, things turn around in Japan, how the Americans finally caught on and got on board with it. And the whole focus on quality assurance and quality in general has been massive for the entire planet. Now, another thing that we looked at is how trading is a process. This is very important that you understand this. It's not just your rules and indicators. It's not just a way to make money. It's a process. It's your business process. And if you keep that in mind and look at it that way, it is tremendously helpful. Now, in the course just now, we went through these 3 steps to maximizing your profits and your consistency through applying the quality process to your trading and how it can really help you. The first part is you get your process right. Second part, you prove it out that it works and you maximize the profits. Then you use process control to maintain the performance. That's it in a nutshell. Now, I hope you found this helpful in this short time, and I've only been able to cover about 30% of what you really need to know. Normally, this takes several hours, but it's not a 4-year degree. I mean, just to be honest with you, as far as what you need to know for trading to really apply it, it's not this big monstrous box of 35 hours of DVDs. It's not that big of a project, but it does normally take several hours, and I've covered as much of it as I can in a short time. It's almost time for Q&A right now. And like I told you, if you want to take this further, I do have a special offer for you. And with your permission, I'll tell you about it in just a moment. It'll only take a few minutes, and then we'll get to the Q&A, and I'll tell you how you can get your gift. Here's what I'm talking about as far as the program goes, and if you want to take this further. If you'd like to continue your education with me, I invite you to participate in my online training, and where you can begin your transformation right away, today. And again, it's through online training. It's not the one-on-one coaching that I did before. It's an online home study course called Trading System Mastery. And it's 3 modules, and it's available 24/7 online with downloadable video and audio files. You got templates, worksheets, tools, bonus videos, all kinds of stuff, everything you need here. Now, real quickly, here are the modules. This is an in-depth how to do all the things that we were just talking about with your trading so that you just absolutely know, and your level of confidence and your level of certainty that you're good. Again, where going to the market that you're okay. And this is cool because you can go through everything if you want to in less than 5 hours. That's the video training. But this is an implementation program. It's not just a book. It's not just information. This is an implementation program. So it's going to be lots of you doing. But you can get a look and go through everything in less than 5 hours. Now, module 1 is how to define and document your trading process so that it's easily repeatable. That's the main thing. It needs to be easy to repeat and execute consistently and repeatably. And the way it's defined and documented goes a long way toward making that happen. Like I said, if you don't get this part of it right, all your other efforts will be in vain. You simply must have this foundation for consistent trading. Now, the modules include key insights and tricks of the trade from my years as a quality assurance engineer and quality manager, and working with other businesses, working with traders for over 11 years. So you're getting a lot of really excellent, useful information that you probably won't find anywhere else, and it'll take you years to figure out on your own. Now, in Module 2, you get a precise measure of how good your trading system is to the dollar, so you'll understand the numbers, how to test, how to read the numbers so that it's all meaningful and useful, and you're really going into your trading with a very realistic baseline with which to trade. You also maximize your system's profitability, always moving forward by having a way to do so in an organized, calculated, and very business-like manner. So it's no guesswork, no hoping, no trial and error stuff. And of course, in Module 3, where we ensure your continued success through monitoring and adapting in an organized, calculated fashion. Now, that's the program. But you may be thinking, well, Brian, it's all well and good, but, I'm just dealing with a lot of just plain emotional issues. I mean, I've got a handle on things, but these are psychological issues, and I'm dealing with my emotions. In order to help you with that, I created this guide. This specifically covers over 50 different trader mistakes, gives you in-depth understanding about the psychology of trading, psychology in general, the 50 mistakes that traders make, and the specific actions to take for each of the mistakes, along with the trader's emotional toolkit. This is really a very condensed but complete emotional intelligence for traders to help you deal with the purely psychological stuff in addition to the hard side stuff that the course covers, the process control for trading. The second bonus I've got for you to help you with your metrics as far as the ongoing monitoring and to keep it simple and mentally manageable so you don't get overwhelmed, I created the Trading Performance Analyzer, which includes the profit potential calculator I told you about. But in addition to that, it also gives you analysis tools for your regular trading and also a way to track your trading over the course of 12 months and keep all your metrics really nice and organized and, again, meaningful and useful for you so that you're always doing better and keeping a solid handle on what you've got going on. Another thing you might be thinking is, well, for me, Brian, I think a lot of it's just self-sabotage. And a good portion of it is. Again, going back to how you are as a trader right now. If you're not the trader you need to be right now, okay, yes, your subconscious is going to be sabotaging you to keep you from succeeding. This video helps you understand where that self-sabotage is coming from and how to address the self-sabotage part in addition to the training that you get and the changes that you go through in the training. Now, you may be saying, well, hey, Brian, I've looked at canned systems, but I'd really like to come up with something on my own, or I want to be able to look at another system and know that it's complete and everything. This video is about the 10 essential components of a high probability winning trading system so that when you're looking at it, this is your checklist. Well, you need to have this and this and this, and if it doesn't, okay, here's how I can fix that. That's really cool, too. Now, this fifth bonus, maybe you're thinking, well, Brian, all this stuff to do with systems is all well and good, but I'm just having a hard time getting organized just in general as a trader. I'm tired of running around in circles, jumping from system to system and everything. You've got higher level, the owner of the business kind of issues you're dealing with. Well, the other bonus that I've got for you here is the first month free in the Trading Pit Club. It's a professionals in training program that I created, and it's a 6-month program. And the first part of it, the first 4 lessons, the first month, all deal with those foundational, getting your thought processes organized, getting some clarity and organization to your operation in general, helping you think through that process. And again, these are foundation exercises for your trading business on this level, that you are the manager and owner of the business. And if you like it and you want to continue through the rest of the course, that's fine. It's $99 a month. If you don't want to continue, just let me know, and you get the first month free and nothing after that, and that's fine. Now, this will help you get yourself organized on that mode again as the owner and manager of your trading business. It's really solid. And if you want to go through the whole program, it's great for getting your trading business organized, focused, and planned out. And yes, you do come out of it with an actual working business plan, so that's very cool. I'm including these bonuses to help you attend to these other matters. And again, you registered, you showed up, you're here now. This is cool. I've got an extra bonus for you. If you want to go ahead and get enrolled right now, which would be a good idea, for the first 20 to enroll in the program, you get an extra $100 discount. Now, understand something. This is not available to the general public. This is, this Trading System Mastery Program. Enrollment right now is closed to the general public. The only place that you can get this is right here. Nobody else teaches. I created it. It's all my baby. This is the only place you can get it. And this is your only way in is through this webinar. Again, even on my site, you won't find it there. This is your only window of opportunity as well. This is not open on a general day-to-day basis. You need to do this today. Right now would be a great time to do it, obviously. Now, get started right now, and here's why. We're not getting married. This is not a lifetime commitment. All you really need to do is take a look at it. Again, I told you, in less than 5 hours, you can look at the entire program. That's all the videos from the core of the course. Before the day's out, you can have a look at the whole thing. It's not going to take, again, 50 hours of DVDs. You can have a really solid look at it in very short order. If it's not a good fit, just say so and you'll get a refund. And because I do back everything that I do. I've been doing this for 11 years. I know that it works, but for some reason, if you're not comfortable, just let me know. If you don't like anything, you don't like my voice, whatever, if it's not a good fit, let me know and you get your money back. Again, this is not a lifetime commitment. You can know within an hour if you like it or not. And here's the thing. You want your trading to produce. You want consistency. This is an easy decision. This process works. Again, I'm an engineer. I'm in quality. If it doesn't work, it doesn't count with me. So I know that it works. I've been doing this for years. I've worked it, and I've done this with hundreds of traders. It just plain works. The results are solid. This really is an easy decision. And more importantly, instead of saying, this is right for you, this is how you profit from it. Remember the cost example? Inconsistency is a direct cost. It's already coming out of your account. Every time you screw up, it's costing you money right now. Even if you're consistent 80% of the time right now, inconsistency, 80% is really doing pretty good. That's a little better than normal. But inconsistency is already costing you probably over $10,000 a year. It's already costing you that much. It's been costing you, and it will continue to cost you in real dollars and all the personal costs that we talked about. Plus, yes, with that, with compounding, the cost is way, way higher. Even if you only make a 10% improvement, forget hitting 100%, or, if you want to shoot for perfection, forget all that. Even if you only make a 10% improvement, going from 80 to 90% consistency, that's eliminating costs that you're already incurring, one that you've already been experiencing. And that 10% improvement, again, we're not talking about perfection, just substantial improvement, puts you ahead over $6,000. And again, another really excellent way that you profit for this is a skill that pays you for life. You're either paying for the cost of inconsistency, or you're enjoying the profits and personal benefits of being, good, consistent, solid trading. So again, this is really an easy decision. Now, how to get started? Well, easily, I mean, you just saw with the other example, I gave you the math to figure it out for yourself. This is already costing you, in inconsistencies, probably $10,000 a year. Even if you make an improvement of only 10% of what you're doing, this can save you over $6,000. And that's why my original clients were so thrilled. Even at, $1,000 and $997, they were thrilled because it was a great ROI. But instead of paying $997 mil, what we're talking about here is that you get the online home study program. You save 50%. So that's just $497. And all you've got to do is go to insideouttrading.com/thirsty. Be one of the first 20 and save an additional $100. Now, again, we're not getting married. All you've got to do is take a look at it. If you like it and it seems like a good fit, cool, go with it. It's going to improve your trading. It will benefit you. If for some reason you don't like it, you're not married. Just let me know. Bam, it's like that. Unlike with trading the markets, where if you do something and change your mind later, you're screwed. Here, you're not. Again, this is your only window of opportunity, so you need to jump on this. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, gosh, should I do this? Should I not? Is this really for me? Is it not for me? I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm really ready to, deal with being a successful trader right now. Well, I want to talk to that little voice in your head for a moment and let me be the bigger voice because, like I said, you're here right now because you provide for more than, you provide for those that you care about. So you're doing this for more than just yourself. You do want to be a successful trader, and it's time that you step up right now and go ahead and own it. If you have any doubt, it means that you're considering it right now. And just the simple fact that you're considering it probably means that, yes, this is for you. And I want you, if you have any doubt right now, to silence that little voice in your bigger place in your space of who you really are. If it's a yes, then I want you to go to this link and get signed up right now. Now, another thing is, over the years, I've had the privilege of helping a lot of traders turn things around to where they really started enjoying the success they had dreamed of for so long. And it's cool because now they're enjoying the life that they wanted. And as you know, trading has a huge impact on the other areas of your life. When it's not going well, it takes away from everything. And when it is going well, it contributes in a big way to every other aspect of your life. So the big question right now is the way things have been going, when you look ahead 10, 20, 30 years in the future, if you're not on target to have this extraordinary life, then it's time for you to get enrolled right now and make this decision so that you don't have any regrets. Most of the time, we regret not the decisions we make, but the ones that we didn't make. So don't let this be one for you because, like I said, if you change your mind, you're not locked in. But if you don't do anything right now, you can't come back tomorrow or next week and say, hey, Brian, wait a minute. It just doesn't work that way. And I know that you don't want to miss out. Now, earlier I told you that I had an offer for you, and I also told you that you could get it, benefit from it, and pay for it later out of your profits. Well, here's how. This is really cool. I use PayPal for my processing, and if you like, you can take advantage of PayPal credit. With the PayPal credit, it's no payments and no interest if you pay within 6 months. So you can get the course now and pay for it later out of your profits. That's very cool. Okay, now, thank you for attending. Here's how to get your gift. I do thank you for your attendance today. Again, I appreciate you doing this. To get the Trading System Profit Potential Calculator, which again, you get as part of the program when you sign up. If you want to just go, download the calculator itself, go to insideouttrading.com/SOC gift, and that's where you can get it. And now it's time to, go and open things up to Q&A. So give me just a second. I also need to grab a quick drink of water. My throat's really dry. I've been talking like a madman for an hour. And let's see what kind of questions we've got here. Questions. Okay, somebody's saying happy birthday. Don't get that. Well,
I think it puts your questions way back up at the top then, because that was early this morning when AJ went. It was AJ's birthday. So if you look at the timestamp, I could see one question for you. If you come down to 11:16 or 12:16 Eastern, it says, let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. They were saying scared money never wins. Okay. A lot of people are just agreeing with what you...
Okay. Well, I can go ahead and answer a couple of questions that I do get from time to time, just for clarity. One is, how is this different from courses on how to create a trading system? And really, this is how to create a trading system. This is part of it, but only a small part of it. Really, in this course, you're understanding how to gear everything, what you're doing for consistency. Looking long term, understanding that yes, over the course of your career, you're going to be doing, placing trades hundreds, if not thousands of times. So how can you go about it in a manner where you set yourself up to be able to easily and comfortably be very consistent in what you're doing and really, have that control over what you're doing? Again, that assurance that what your output's going to be. You don't have to sit there and try to, constantly fix what's, the problems that come up. The best way to look at it is, do you want to be a fireman just running around putting out fires? Or do you want to get things under control where you just do your thing every day and you're pretty relaxed about it? This is how, again, we take all the stuff that's already been proven out in other industries over decades. Quality assurance is nothing new. I didn't invent it, but I lived it, and I've had the good fortune to be a trader as well. Part of the reason I got into this, and I'm doing what I'm doing, is I was talking with a gal who was a certified life coach, and her specialization was emotional intelligence. And I had been through that training in the corporate world, the emotional intelligence for managers in the workplace. And so we're talking about this, and I was really fascinated with it, and the fact that there was even schools for it, and certifications and everything, let alone a specialization in emotional intelligence. But I asked her, it's like, okay, so how does the school, how do they, teach you how to go get clients and everything? And she says, well, the same thing you did. We go talk to corporations. And I'm like, oh my God, you are so missing the boat. You've got there are tens of thousands of traders over here that are struggling to keep their emotions under control. And you need to be over here helping everybody, do that. And so she and I and her partner, the three of us, we'd actually talked about putting together a business where I was going to help them customize their coaching for traders, because I've been through the coaching before, and I having the experience of trading, I know what it's like to be a trader. So I was going to help them customize their coaching for traders, and then also, as far as marketing it to the trading world and getting it making it available to everybody. And at the very last minute, we had all the paperwork filed, all the accounting set up, the bank accounts, all that kind of stuff got cleared up to the day one to go live, and they got nervous and back down. And I'm like, well, fine. I've been through the training. I know what it's like to be a trader. And I just went ahead and started doing it on my own. And I found that combined with my experience as a quality manager and the whole quality field, because it really is how to get good at what you're doing and how to have a solid handle on your business, and also how to maximize the profit about your business. Most people don't realize quality assurance. The best way to sum it up is it's good business on purpose and by design. That's what quality is really all about. It's like identify the best way to do something and then get really good at doing it consistently day in and day out. That's the whole foundation of quality. And so it's like absolutely perfect for traders. And the cool thing about it is, once I started doing this, I figured out how to share it with traders and customize it for traders. This has been so massively effective. Everybody that goes through this, it's like this is the big missing puzzle piece that was not part of your original training to be a trader. Like I said, nobody gets really good training. It's like, here's how you get started. Here's your system. Go get busy. That's the training that most people get. They don't get this kind of stuff. It's how to be a trader, how to be consistent, how to run it as a business, and know that you're okay. And so, okay, I know I kind of went off on a little rant right there, but that's why this is so important. This is actually a skill that you do need to have, whether it's trading or any other business that you might need. This is how you really make sure that you're giving yourself every advantage both today and for the long term, and a lot of peace of mind about what you're doing. That's why it's so important. It's to, you make your business reliable. And that's what everybody wants. You just want you want the freedom and the money that the trading provides, of course, but you want that security, that reliability, so that you can have peace of mind about it. You don't want to just be a nervous wreck all the time, worried about losing and, getting killed. So that's what the whole quality, everything, that's what it brings to your trading. And so, okay, one of the questions that I get, just to review, how long does it usually take to go through this process, this training? On average, I found that 30 days is a really good benchmark. I've had some people get through it in as little as 2 weeks. Some take as long as 6 or 7 weeks, depends on your situation, how much you got going on, how much time you have to devote to this. You really only need to devote like 1 to 3 hours per week. So it's not, it's not a big overwhelming thing. You can still have a life and get through this in pretty short order. And okay, another question that I get, does this really attend to psychological issues? Absolutely. Because you become a different trader. part of the reason that you have the doubt and the anxiety and stuff is subconsciously you know that your training has been missing something, and you know down underneath it all that, well, you might be smart, smarter than average, that you're a very capable person, you know that you're missing something, and so your subconscious, every time you run into a situation where it's like, yeah, you're trying to work with a system that's not properly defined. Again, Deming said that this is absolutely the core foundation of being able to be consistent and have some assurance in what you're doing. So you have to know how to properly define your process. And once you do, though, now, cool. And you know how to do it, and you know that it's solid. Now you're a different trader. You have a certain sense of knowing and certainty about yourself instead of doubt and anxiety and going on hope and courage where you're just fighting down your fears. No, now you know. But actually, here's just a real short story, but I absolutely love it. It's so cool. When my oldest son was in T-ball, his coach was just the neatest guy. He was such a baseball fanatic, and he had played minor league ball. But anyway, when he and I were talking one day, his son was pretty good, my son was pretty good, and we're looking at him, we're watching him play, and the boys are just doing stuff that we had not even taught him before. And Tom's just geeking out. He's like, "Oh my God, they're just getting stuff. This is so cool." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Man, when you watch these, when you watch people, especially the kids, and they get good at what they're doing, and they get it, and they know they're good, man. That's when they're getting stud. They're good, and they know they're good, and that's why they strut when they walk out on the field. And that's really what I love to do for traders. It's like when I can help you get to that point where your level of confidence in what you're doing and in yourself is there, where, yeah, you just know. You don't have to ask anybody. Nobody has to tell you anything. You know, man, I'm solid. I'm ready to rock. Let's go get busy. And it comes from a position of confidence and knowing, and that's just absolutely cool. Now, just a real quick review as far as everything that's in the program when you enroll today. I'll just give you a real quick another look at it. Let's scroll back up. Okay, so here are the bonuses. Remember, you get the course itself, of course. You get the Trader's Guide to Emotional Management. You get the Trading Performance Analyzer. This right here really is a bigger deal than a lot of people think. There are lots of platforms that will provide you your metrics, but so many people, they say, "Brian, it's just overwhelming. I don't know what really to focus on. What's helping me? What I should just kind of ignore. I don't know how to prioritize the stuff. I just feel mentally overwhelmed." And so the metrics are not useful and meaningful at that point. And I created this Trading Performance Analyzer initially to help people with their metrics, to really simplify everything so that it's just the meaningful, useful stuff, so that you can track your metrics, because that's like the core of process control, is measuring things so you have a good objective measurement. The numbers give you a whole different perspective. Instead of thinking things are okay or thinking there's a problem, the numbers, they give you a whole clear perspective of what's going on. And this really makes it so mentally manageable and easy, and like I said, most importantly, useful and meaningful. And then again, the other bonus, you get the how to deal with self-sabotage. You how to know that your trading system is complete, the 10 essential components. And yes, the trading pit club. I found that you have basically two roles as a trader, two primary roles, and that's you as the trader on a day-to-day basis and managing the trading system and being an expert with the trading system, and that's what the Trading System Mastery course covers. But you're also the owner, you're self-employed, you're a self-directed business owner. So you have that learning curve as well, and that's what this helps you with there. So those are your two primary roles. You're the owner and manager of the business, and then you're the employee in the business. And you have to really have the skill sets for both of those. And so that's why I've organized this way I have. So you have a very complete training, all the stuff that you were missing when you started out as a trader. And when you can go back and fill those gaps, it makes all the difference in the world. So, okay, again, I kind of went on a little bit of a rant. Let's see. As far as the questions, back to more questions. Well, I don't know why, but the questions are not showing up for me. So, okay. So I'm just kind of scrolling through the questions here. Bear with me a minute.
I saw one. Let's see. Mine is acting up a little funny too.
Oh, there we go.
Could you tell a little more about what is the Pit Club?
Okay, yeah, with the Pay Club, again, this is a 6-month program, and it walks you through the entire process of, like I said, you got your foundational stuff. It's just getting yourself organized. It actually, it steps you back to before you're even a trader, where you're just an investor looking to do something with your money, and how to properly step into being, becoming the owner of a business and a trading business. But then it also walks you through the different aspects of being a trader, of being an owner, how to approach your system. There's a little bit of overlap with the Trading System Mastery Program. It walks you walks you through how to get your trading operation organized, and also doing the financial analysis, putting together a 12-month financial forecast for your trading business based on realistic numbers. And then at the end of it, you bring everything together into an actual working business plan, which is very cool. I mean, one that you could actually take to an investor and say, here's what I got going on. And it breaks everything down. It's where, it helps you set your goals, get direction for your trading. And just as the owner of your business, getting things very well organized and laying out your plan, your financial goals, and how you're specifically going to achieve them and when. So again, as far as that whole role of being a self-directed, self-employed, independent trader, it covers all of that, and it's a really excellent complement to the Trading System Mastery. The Trading System Mastery goes in depth into how to attend to your trading systems, setting up your system so that it lends itself well toward being traded consistently over time, and how to keep it all under control over time. So. But yeah, with the Pick Club, that's really that's the essence of it, and it's a 6-month program. The lessons come weekly. It takes an hour or two per week. Every week, it's a different focus, and there are exercises. And again, it's another very transformational program where, you come out of it and you're a whole different person. Okay, one question here. If I don't really have a trading plan right now, will this help me? How to create a trading plan? Yes, indeed. Yes, as far as creating a trading plan now, do you need a trading plan, the trading system, the process for, identifying and executing and managing trades, or the trading plan where you're talking about like your business plan? Either way, yes, when you sign up for this course, you will, this covers both. The Pay Club covers your trading plan for your trading business. The Trading System Mastery covers your trading plan as far as if it's, just your day-to-day trading system. So either way, you're covered. Yes, this will, and this is really the way to do it, properly. Really, everybody, the success is in the details, and that's where a lot of traders, they wind up jumping ahead of themselves and really getting hurt, is because any business can be broken down to a very simple level where it looks just so easy on the surface. And that's why, with trading, the buy low, sell high. It's the details of doing it. I mean, it's just like football. You might understand the game of football. That doesn't mean that you can walk out on the field and win the Super Bowl. It's in the details. It's where the success comes from, and knowing how to do things in a way that, yes, will make you successful, and, with a very high probability and high level of certainty. So, now, let's see. Bad system will beat a good system every time. Edward Deming. A bad system will beat a good person every time. Okay, cool. It's from a Brainy quote. Excellent. Thank you, TJ, for sharing that. Manual backtesting takes time. That's true. Now, on manual backtesting, here's one thing that I found about it, and this is huge. And here's another takeaway for you from this presentation. With manual backtesting, yes, it does take more time and effort than automated backtesting. Absolutely. But automated backtesting just gives you the results. With manual backtesting, you get two huge benefits that automated backtesting does not give you. The first one is you actually get to watch the trades play out. And you can pick up a lot of information that isn't in the results as far as what's going on with all the different trades that you watch. The second thing is, with manual backtesting, remember, trading is a skill-based business. When you manually backtest, you're getting practice with your system. That's massive. I've had so many people, they tell me, because I'll tell them, do the manual backtesting, you'll be practicing your system. I mean, even Nicholas Darvis, one of the things that he did that made him such a great trader was he practiced his system when he wasn't live trading. He would just practice and practice and practice. I mean, if you're a golfer, and you want to be a competition golfer, you're not only going to go to the course when it's time for a tournament. No, you're going to be out playing a par threes. You're going to be out, hitting the putting greens and just playing 18 holes every day between tournaments and stuff like that, at least 18 holes. You're going to have a lot of practice time so that when it comes time to perform, you've got the skills down. You've got the muscle memory, all the training, so you don't have to think about it all. Same thing goes for trading. The manual back testing goes a massive way toward building your confidence and ensuring good execution. Now, I'm not talking about, just jumping into a demo account like a lot of people do and playing around. I'm talking about practicing your system. And with manual back testing, it is so cool because it's a perfect environment. There's no, financial pressure. There's no time pressure. So you can go in and you can practice perfect execution with your trading system. And that goes so far toward when you're doing it live with real money. Okay. So, all right. Is bonus number one, an actual book or an ebook? It is an ebook. You'll have immediate access to it. There are actually lots of bonuses that come with the Trader's Guide to Emotional Management. You'll like it. As far as on the psychology of trading, that by itself, it's one of my more popular products. And it is anything and everything to do with psychology of trading. It really is very helpful. So, I think that answers all the questions. So. Let's go ahead and wrap things up. If you have any questions, beyond this, feel free to contact me. Let me know. I'm here to help you make it. I mean, really, that's why I do what I do. Like I said, there are a lot of good people that get into trading. I know that my first year, it was so rough it almost cost me my marriage, but I made it through it, and I know that there are a lot of the people like you. It's natural for me to assume that, yes, you are sincere in what you're doing, and again, you're doing this for more than just yourself. So I really do want to help you make it and succeed as a trader, and not just give you something clever, but something that is really meaningful and will serve you for the rest of your life. Again, I'm here to help you. And Jeanette, how do you want to wrap things up here? Okay. Well, anyway.